Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Throttle Therapy. And on tonight's episode, I don't know if this is echoing or not, but the reason I haven't posted in a while is because I moved. I guess I should have came out with a video that I moved, but no big deal. So while I'm bringing the engine and crankshaft in, there will be a wall that you guys can stare at, but nothing, I repeat, nothing is going on over there. Now, are there easier ways of what I'm doing? Absolutely. But I don't have that option right now, or luxury. And the biggest thing is I don't have what I need here, because it's about an hour away, but that's all going to change soon. Because it does no good sitting with the Torino not doing anything. Okay. Whew. Now, for those astute viewers, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's not on a engine hoist. And by God, you would be astute in noticing. But that's one thing that's missing. So I'm going to pan the camera here. Boom. All that on the wall. We got kids playing. Ooh. So there it is. There's the 460 from the machine shop. I can't say fresh from the machine shop. It's been a while. I haven't had a lot of money to do a lot. But there it is. The biggest drawback about this place, this garage, even though I really like it, is that it doesn't have outlets. There's nothing over here. There's nothing over here. None of that. So currently, all the tools are there. There's a bunch of boxes I have to go through. That's a bike I gotta fix. All of that. Cool. Okay, so gotta get organized. Got a canvas sheet. I think I have 2 or 3 of these. And this is the garage with the door closed, so that's what it's gonna look like until I get some of those lights from Harbor Freight and stick them up on the side of the wall and, go from there. I don't have a chair in here, which would be nice because I would like to record stuff sitting down sometimes. But what can you do? Okay, there's that. Don't do this unless you really want to. I can't control you. There it is. Ta-da. All right, well, that just went flying everywhere. We're gonna leave this tarp down. It's kind of like, I don't even know if you can see me. I don't think you can. If you can most definitely see me. I was hoping it was like a Charlie Brown effect, but it's not. So, womp womp. Anyway, so we'll put this tarp here. That way we can start when I go get the actual engine stand. We'll roll it over here, keep this place clean, nice and organized, because right now it looks like there's a whole lot of hoopla going on. The goal is to get the logo on that back wall over here. That way, whenever I get a table, I can sit down, have some coffee, talk about stuff going on in the car world, and then post it and upload it to you guys, and you can watch it. Now, there's really not a lot for me to do other than unpack things, so I'm just going to be unpacking and talking. Again, no idea how the audio is sounding. This was a piston, as you can tell. Look at all that. This, I didn't even noticed that. This one has a nice little chunk coming out of it, and the rings are all. Anyway, so this piston right here came from that bad boy. And when I first popped it out, so some story about the engine here. This came out of a Lincoln Mark III. At the time, the 460s were only in the Lincolns. And so this is one of them. I was driving it. I bought it up north in Dallas, and I was driving it home, and it cut out on me about, I'd say about 30, 45 minutes out on the road. And at the time, the guy that I bought it from, he didn't know anything about cars, and he told me about that. And I was like, well, how bad could it be, right? And he decided that it'd be a great time to mess with the electrical, which I'm actually going to school for that. And electrical is super, super tough. So he decided to watch some random YouTube videos, and lo and behold, everything in the car was messed up. In fact, actually, fantastic. It doesn't matter. Its piston's already broken. Ignore that. In fact, actually, like I was saying, though, is that he informed me of this, and he told me that it was fine, and it was only the windows. And what I found out was the harness actually melted in the back by the gas tank. And I didn't find that out until I pulled apart the car, because I was like, I got to fix this wiring and see what's going on. And well, I sure did. I sure did find out what was going on, but it was too late. And also, I didn't know anything about wiring. And if you guys don't know, even though the Lincoln came out in 1970 or 69, 70, 71, I say the Lincoln like I was the only time they ever made it. The Mark III specifically, when those guys came out, they were super complicated. I mean, oh my gosh, you could compare them to modern day cars. They had all the same features. Crazy. Blew my mind. Power seats, power windows, AC, radio, all that goodness, all that stuff. All of that. And the wiring harness looked like it belonged in a house. That's how extensive it was. So, that being said, if you don't know anything about electrical, you shouldn't mess with it. Which brings me to another thing. When it comes to car parts, I am going to remain anonymous when I say this. I'm not going to mention the place where I went. But if you're out there and you're dealing with the same thing that I dealt with, it's very annoying. It's very it's just pointless is what it was. So I went in for an interview, and I'm not going to say I don't know anything about cars. Obviously, I'm making a YouTube channel, and I got an engine sitting right here, and here's its piston, and I can tell you where the rings are and how this connects, which we'll cover in a future video when I'm rebuilding that engine. And anyway, and so the guy was like, well, can you tell me your credentials and so on and so forth, right? And the thing is, if you're going to buy car parts, right, wouldn't you want to buy it from a guy who kind of knows what he's talking about? And that's something that I've realized. Yes, I support anyone getting into cars. I mean, when I was younger, when I was a lot younger, when I was a child, my dad made me do my first oil change. And that's an experience that I'll never forget. It teaches you a lot. As a kid, ooh, that's heavy. And so you learn a lot about yourself throughout the years, and you learn that you kind of know stuff and you kind of can figure things out. And so when you go to the store to buy a certain part, a certain thing, it's really nice to know that the guy behind the counter kind of knows what he's talking about. Because one thing that makes me very angry is that everywhere we go nowadays, it's all about pushing sales. It's all about pushing cards. Oh, if you do so-and-so thing, you can have a credit card with us. It'll save you money until you have to pay it back. Oh, if you do X thing, blah, 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 but you have to sign up with us, and it's at our location, and so on and so forth. And that is annoying. Why can't I just go in and buy something? Why can't I just go in and not have to sign up for anything? Why do I have to have retail experience to sell car parts to people? Why do we charge so much for an oil change? It's $120 at some places, $180. Oh, but if you do it and you sign up for this and it's a yearly plan, well, then you don't have to worry about it. You can spend $30, $30, do it yourself. Then you don't have to worry about it. And I understand, there are some people who can't do oil changes, whether it be physical limitations, inexperience, a lack of knowledge. I get it. I'm not defending that. Or I'm not saying, oh, it's stupid. But these companies out here, these corporations, are ripping people off left and right, and that's all that matters to them. They don't care about helping anyone out. They just care about themselves. And it's just so heartbreaking. A lot of people say, well, one thing, I'm getting sidetracked. One thing that really made me irritated was that he told me that people buy parts from people, right? And that makes sense. You should be able to go to a place. You should be able to talk to them. And you should be able to have a decent conversation with the person. You should be able to, sorry for the shakiness, it's going to be like that, I'm just going to post it. And you should be able to buy parts from people, right? But you should be able to buy from knowledgeable people. And that's the big thing. You know why people like Rock Auto? I love it. It's cheap. I know what parts I'm looking for. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to hear the relentless year, make, and model when all I need is a battery or, something trivial. If I need a tire stem or I don't need to give that. I know what car I'm looking for. And then what about all the hot rodders who have, a small little car and they decide to throw in like a Viper engine, or they're sitting there. I have Whistling Diesel has a Tesla with a literal giant diesel in it. I think that's his video. But the point is, what about that? The year, make, and model doesn't matter because you swapped it. You engine swapped it. And yeah, I understand. You go there and you tell them, hey, I'm buying parts for example, this is going into Torino, but I'm buying parts for a Lincoln Mark III. And then they're going to throw you different size radiators and so on and so forth. And then you have to figure out and you have to modify it, which again comes down to hot rodding thing. But it's irritating when you go in there and they say, oh, no. Our parts, we're a small town like store, but we're really not. Well, that's the thing. You're really not. That's a big thing for me. Small town stores feel the way they do because they're small town, because they're sincere, because they're genuine. That's a big thing. These are giant soulless corporations who are like, oh, well, if we can parade ourselves as a small time store, well then, we'll still make a ton of profit. And the issue is that we don't really have a lot of options. That's a big one. All right, I'm rolling down plastic on the other side so you guys get to stare at the engine. And I'll get a close-up of that here in a bit. But like I was saying, is that it's irritating. It is very irritating for them to pretend like they actually care. Because they don't. They only care about you signing up for their credit cards or their membership or their benefits and so on and so forth. And that's not fair. Look at those giant companies like Snap-on that make you pay a stupid amount of money for a bunch of tools. Don't get me wrong, Snap-on made some great products. They still make some great products, but you don't need to buy sockets from them. You can buy the tool, just buy the sockets from Harbor Freight or something. Be smarter about the purchase. And that's another thing. This interview I went to just had me completely fired up. It irritates me. I couldn't get the job because I didn't have retail experience. Because I'm not trying to rip people off. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm trying to help them out. Which is funny because the whole time he said, well, that's what we do. That's what he pushed. But he kept asking about retail experience and sales. And if that's the case, then why does that matter? If that's the case, what's the point of asking if I have it? I know enough experience with cars to help people out. If someone came in and asked, can I get X oil filter? That's an oil filter. You don't even have to think twice about stuff like that. You know it. You know the parts. It's not hard to recommend better car parts to better people to help them understand why ceramic brake pads last longer, why they're more expensive, what's really going to help them from their day-to-day. People don't want to spend an arm and a leg. I don't want to spend an arm and a leg. Sometimes you have to, but that doesn't mean you want to, and that's a big thing. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, is that right now, a bunch of people, everyone, are going through tough times. And because of that, because we're going through tough times, we don't have a lot of money to spend. Not everyone can afford ceramics. Not everyone can afford the upsell. Also, that's another thing. Why do we upsell so much? We don't need to upsell anything. Just let everyone get what they want. They didn't come in there to leave paying $400 for stuff that they didn't need. Sometimes people just go in there and they only have $20 to their name and they need this part and it's $15. They don't need the upsell on that. Just give them the part. Just help them out. But you know, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And before I get too into that conversation, take this out and I'm going to hold this up. And so anyway, so if you can see, sorry, my phone camera is off. Actually, this whole phone is just awful. But as you can see, we got those rehoned. Those are actually bored out 30 over. We got new freeze plugs. The paint is going to get removed. I'm going to have to redo all that. You know, I have to clean this block anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. I do have some concerns, but I'll show you guys that in a later video. Right now, I just wanted to show you the new place, and I'm probably just going to upload this and see why. You guys can see why I haven't been posting so long. But this is the whole garage. It's really cool. Like I said, we're going to get a logo up there. So next time you guys see it, we're going to have a nice video. It looks like this camera's going out, like something's messed up, but that's fine. Who cares? And consistently, now that I have this, I'm going to be posting once a week, whether it be reacting to cars, just talking about things. There was a car show that I missed today, and that's all my fault. But when there's another car show, I will go and I will take some pictures and I'll show you guys. But that's it. This is the garage. It's very hot in here, and I will fix that in a bit. Maybe. I really don't know. I might just figure out about getting a fan coming through here and blowing that. This is the only light source that's probably really bright. And this is another light source, but you can't really tell. It's not really doing a lot, but it is magnetic, which means that'll come in handy when I get the car in here. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.